Hi guys, it's Andre here. I just wanted to film this video in this way so you can basically see what's going on my screen, so you can follow along with what I'm reading and what I'm looking at, and also so you can see that I'm not just making this bullshit up. So let's get straight into it. Today I want to talk about cholesterol. Everyone has heard the theory that cholesterol, increasing levels of cholesterol in your diet results in an increase in the risk factors of developing cardiovascular diseases or coronary heart diseases. My question to you is whether this is actually true. Now, you really have to look at this critically and follow this, trace this back quite a number of years, and have a look at the information that is made available to us through this great invention called the internet. So what I've done is I've just jumped on PubMed and I've done a quick search. I've located a couple of these journal articles, and then I've done a bit more back-end research into a little bit more detail. But what I'm doing today is I'm just going through some of the key statements in the abstracts for these studies, but except for the first one. I want to read you a little section of this first one. So let's get straight into it. So the first one is a study from 1989, so it's a little bit old, but it still proves a point in the second and third paragraphs here. So let's get straight into it. So it starts off saying, beginning in 1965, the American Heart Association advised the general public to modify the fat and cholesterol content of its diet in the hope that such dietary modifications would reduce levels of serum cholesterol, retard the development of atherosclerosis, and reduce the incidence of cardiovascular disease. The validity of this position, blah, 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 blah. So it's been changed a number of times, this particular statement, but it's stayed relatively the same over the years up until the present day. If you jump on any government website, you'll find pretty much the same statement. However, critical analysis of the 1982 diet statement, so the statement we just heard, found it not to be a logical explanation of dietary recommendations, but an assemblage of obsolete and misquoted references. Major studies have shown virtually no effect of diet on serum cholesterol levels. Okay, so just keep that in mind there. This second one is just something I found a little bit interesting. So this was studying the effects of antioxidants and vitamins on cardiovascular risk factors in healthy seniors, and when compared to younger adults and children. Now, down here are some of the antioxidants and vitamins that were studied, but one here is a little bit interesting. Now, I'm not going to comment on this greatly, but I just found it interesting that nicotinic acid or niacin, also known as nicotinamide, was shown to reduce cardiovascular risk factors in humans. What is nicotinic acid or nicotinamide? It is a compound which is found in nicotine or tobacco. Okay, nicotine is actually a vasoconstrictor, and it's not, nicotinic acid isn't found in nicotine. It's found in tobacco, and it counteracts the actions of nicotine. So while nicotine can tend to close off your lungs, nicotinic acid has been shown in research to open up your lungs. That's something I just found quite interesting. So moving on to this review here, there's just one thing that two things actually that I wanted to point out in this sentence here. In the study Lindbergh from 1992, so they followed, I think it was primarily male patients, and studied the cholesterol levels, yada yada yada. The interesting part of this is for those who showed serum cholesterol was below the lowest quartile, so in the lowest level of serum cholesterol, so that's the cholesterol levels in your blood. Those who had the lowest levels of cholesterol in their blood showed an increase by 4.2 times in the risk of suicide. So what this is saying is that low levels of cholesterol in your blood can actually affect you psychologically. Now, this is from the Journal of Psychiatry and Neuroscience in 1993. What they also found was that low levels of blood cholesterol showed or presented itself as aggression, increased aggression, and low self-control. Now, this is saying that, well, basically, your brain is made pretty much of fat. It's if you've ever cooked or handled animal brains or lamb brains, sheep brains, or anything like that, you'll know that they're very soft and very watery. And basically, the main part of them is fat and water. So low levels of blood cholesterol, which is really just the fat, affects your brain and your ability to think properly. In here, I just want to read a quick statement. The belief that coronary atherosclerosis is due to high cholesterol from increased saturated fat intake originated from experiments on herbivorous animals. So animals which only ate plants. So I think this study was done on chickens and rabbits. But basically what it showed was if you increase saturated fats in these animals, it increased their risk of developing cardiovascular disease, or atherosclerosis, sorry. It was reinforced by reports allegedly demonstrating this sequence of events in various populations, but ignoring contradictory data. The idea has been perpetuated by powerful forces using similar tactics to preserve the profit and the reputations of those who promote this doctrine. Okay, so I'll just leave that one with you there. In this one, just a quick one. Now, these are from the Scandinavian Cardiovascular Journal, and they're fairly recent, from 2008. The clinical picture of a heart attack is not synonymous with atherosclerotic changes in the coronary arteries. So what it's saying is that changes in the arteries do not result in an increase in heart attack. One does not equal the other. Okay. And, now the last one is again from the Scandinavian Cardiovascular Journal, and just this last statement down here. In fact, careful analysis of the available data, including randomized trials, indicates that contrary to a widespread opinion, cholesterol lowering does not appear to be a very effective way of reducing cardiac and overall mortality in the general population. So the main point of this is to get across that cholesterol for many years now has, for whatever reasons, has been deemed the bad guy in this whole story. But essentially, cholesterol is very essential to the repair and keeping balance within your body. If you have low levels of cholesterol, you're not going to be able to repair very well. It becomes easier to understand if you know the molecular structure of cholesterol. But any sort of inflammation, so if you do have a relatively bad diet, or even if you are working out quite often and you need a lot of repair of your muscles, you're going to have, it's a given, you're going to have increased levels of cholesterol, because you're going to have increased demand for these rebuilding of these anabolic fats really in your system. So all I'm saying is look at it for yourself, look at some of this information, and make up your own mind whether you believe the entire cholesterol theory or not. That's it for now, and once again, have a look at these links. I'm going to post these links up in the description section of this video. I'm also going to include a couple of the videos that you can watch in relation to this whole topic as well. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.